For some time in Total War Warhammer 2, animated hulks were some of the cheapest monstrous infantry in the game, and that still is the case now in Total War Warhammer 3. That's right, animated hulks are now on discount at only 500 cost. They are tied with Ogre Bulls for the cheapest monstrous infantry in the game, although, unlike Ogre Bulls, they have 110 weapon strength with 77 armor-piercing damage. Really great for the cost, especially if you need some cheap, efficient melee AP. Like if you're fighting Cathay in Domination. So Vampire Coast versus Cathay today, 2 animated hulks. Noctilus leading my build here. A couple of bombers, 3 deckhands, and 3 depth guards, including the Regiment of Renown polearms in the center with dual weapons on the wings. Yeah, we've already brought a pistol mob out of reserve. We'll get to the reserves in just a second after we take a look at Cathay's build here. Miao Ying leading the way. 3 Jade Warriors as well. We've got some Peasant Archers and some Peasant Long Spears. 2 Crane Gunners in sort of hiding positions from cannons, which neither of us have brought, but good to be safe. More Jade Warriors and Peasant Archers there. So let's get to the reserves real quick. For my reserves, I've got 3 Sirens, 2 Scurvy Dogs, 2 more Animated Hulks, 3 more Bombers, 4 Bats, 3 Halberds, and a single Pistol Mob. My opponents got a Longma, the Regiment of Renown, Celestial Dragon Guard, Dune Dragons, single cannon, 2 Jade Lancers, a Jade Halberd, 4 Peasant Horsemen, and 4 Peasant Long Spears. And we're back in the battle. So, yeah, animated hulks. I was kind of flabbergasted when I saw they were only 500 cost, as some bats come flapping on in to try and interrupt those crane gunners. I mean, 110 weapon strength is like the same as Minotaurs, and these guys are now like less than half the cost of Minotaurs, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. We'll see if it sticks, but definitely it does give Vampire Coast some surprising melee power. Of course, low armor and sort of squishiness has always been their downfall, but here on ultra unit sizes in Total War Warhammer 3, 42 speed puts them at kind of the faster infantry end. With, again, only 35 armor, but still 32 attack, 24 defense, 12 charge. The stats are generally very poor, but that weapon strength means if they do make contact, they are going to hit very, very hard. And if you have something like Dance Macabre, which I don't have access to with Noctilus, instead I've just brought Pit of Shades because I want to win, and Invocation of Nehek with, of course, zombie summons. Yeah, Bat's going to be flapping on over and getting on some Cathayan guns here. I've featured Vampire Counts versus Cathay, but I think this is the first time I've featured Vampire Coast versus Cathay. Definitely a very interesting matchup. These factions mirror each other in many ways, sort of both slower, more missile-centric factions, obviously, as Cathay has more of a traditional kind of armored infantry corps, whereas the undead infantry definitely are anything but traditional. But anyway, Animated Hulk's going to be deployed to help protect this high ground here. They'll match up very well. Open field engagement like this, as Pit of Shades goes off there in the distance. We'll get to that, but what we really want to see here is the Animated Hulks. Oh yeah, coming in and absolutely pounding it out, smashing through these Jade Warriors. Meanwhile, that Pit of Shades, of course, one-shots a couple units there, but Cathay has access to their own OP stationary vortex, so don't feel too bad about it. Talons of the Night going to be coming in shortly from Miao Ying. Got some summoned deckhands. The long-range summon of the Roth's Moondial item. Captain Roth's Moondial here from Noctilus. Very useful for interrupting missile units, generally tying stuff down. Hulks coming through, though. Oh, yeah. Smashing up these peasants. Very soon I'll be able to show you guys the blood path properly, but fortunately not today. For the time being, just gonna have to content yourself with watching the animations. Got a couple more bats sweeping through. Big engagement playing out in the center here, as well as the bombers start to unleash their load all over these Jade Warriors. We've got the Longmas swooping around, trying to decide where they want to counteract. There's a lot of targets for them to go after, and this is the thing about Longmas. They're relatively expensive, but the bats and the summon here are able to push back some of the crane gunners, keep those Jade Warriors routed as well. I did take quite a bit of damage on the Bloody Reaver Depth Guard and just the Depth Guard in general. My opponent here doing a great job focus firing on them. And Meow also contributing some nice splash attacks as well. Watch her animations play out. Right now, her and Vlad are just choosing to smash each other's minions up a little bit here. Ooh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Oh. KO the zombie. That's right. Great job, Meow. Peasant archers continuing to fire in as well, doing some nice damage to the bombers. Bombers are definitely a threat, even though the depth guard are obviously more expensive and the priority target in general. I would say you could get rid of the bombers pretty easily first. Here, the animated Hulks combining after finishing off the peasant archers. Jade warriors don't stand too much of a chance, even though they do have pretty good defensive stats without harmony. And, you know, when they're kind of getting smashed up by those heavy mass models, it's tough for them. But gonna continue to bring in some more animated Hulks. I've also got a couple of halberds in here. I'm likely to see some cavalry fairly soon, so I wanted anti-large AP. Speaking of anti-large AP, sorry about that. I had a quick phone call. Talons of the Night in the background, but yes, anti-large AP of these elite Dune Dragons here are gonna get fully surrounded by depth guard and deckhands here, but my opponent doing a good job moving in with these Jade Lancers to try and rear charge, kind of counter collapse here, but more Hulks. Yes, more Hulks. Because they're so cheap, you can definitely bring a lot of them. Go with a nice wide build and support with zombies. Going to be plowing through using their heavy mass and AP. Just generally make a mess of things here. Miao Ying's going to escape this surround by transforming. Get up into the sky. Nice utility of that transform, and then also try and use her higher damage output, although she does have to be careful. As a dragon form, obviously she counts as large. She's going to be subject to the anti-large bonus of Noctilus, which is not insignificant. 20 anti-large is quite something. So the Admiral here, the Grand Admiral Red Fleet, oof. Gonna narrowly avoid getting swooped off his feet there as he duels with Great Dragon Lady. Something raiding the coast of Cathay. Anyway, definitely I'm excited to see what they do in that space in the future. There's an excellent Sea Dragon mod. Those of you guys who played it definitely know what I'm talking about. Adds the Sea Dragon. I talked a little bit about it on the channel before, but it is something that I do plan on playing once Immortal Empires is officially released and we can play with mods. Anyway, getting back to the actual battle at hand here. Miao Ying continuing to tear through. I'm surprised, though, that these bombers managed to stay alive this long. Likewise, the Bloody Reaver Depth Guard pushing back those Jade Lancers. We've got some Sirens in here as well. Since the Dune Dragons are mostly dealt with, Miao Ying also cannot use her buff while in dragon form, even though they've talked about changing that a few times. She still cannot use her area of effect melee attack, magic damage buff in dragon form, so that's going to be great for me. Another Pit of Shades here to just try and finish off those Dune Dragons rather than summoning in more zombies. I have pretty good battlefield control right now, not too worried about it, but Cannon gets in here, going to start to shred my Hulks. I'm not too happy about that, so Bloody Reaver Depth Guard will get over here and shut that down in a big hurry. Depth Guard reasonably fast for heavy infantry. Well, that is one advantage they do have going for them. 36 is not crazy fast, but it's definitely up there. I mean, a lot of heavy, like really super heavy infantry are even below 30 speed, so it's definitely not bad. Low model count does come back to haunt them, but definitely been doing great so far. The Regiment Renown in particular, that damage resistance buff they have does keep them from getting focus fired, which is, again, one of the weaknesses of them. But anyway, Irene's pushing up onto the high ground here. Hulk's also smashing up the last of those Jade Warriors there. The successful defensive Hulks on my own objective here. Been doing a great job, along with some Sirens who came in to intercept these halberds. Sirens do not have Frostbite. They still only have Charmed, because I think you can only have one contact effect. I don't know if that's a rule per CA or necessarily an engine level limitation, but instead of giving them Frostbite, they maintain their Charmed, because arguably this is a better trait for Vampire Coast. Although it would be nice to see some units with Frostbite. I think the Mournghouls and the Haunters in particular, right? Haunters specifically, actually, I think get Frostbite in campaign from a skill. So it would be nice for them to have that baseline in multiplayer, or just give it to them baseline regardless. Just take the skill out of their skill tree. Give Vampire Coast a little bit of access to it, and would actually give you more of a reason to take the Haunter. Not that there's a ton right now, but Dune Dragons still holding out, form a final line of defense against the foul zombie halberds as Miao Ying dashes through the back there. But the Admiral Halberd himself, Noctilus, Niklaus von Karstein, going to go two-hand attack animation, re-engage here with Miao Ying. Oh yeah, nice sweeping attack there. We take a nice wide view once again. Pushing forward, just trying to three-prong this right now. I'm far enough ahead on value that I'm pretty safe, and I can just try and finish this as quickly as possible. A little bit of an invocation of Nehek here on these Bloody Reaver Depth Guard as they continue to hold out against a horde of peasant long spears. We'll watch in the background. Miao Ying fighting. Bombardment dropping from the sky. The Bloody Reavers, man, they're like the algae-crusted armor is interesting against a lot of terrain backgrounds. It kind of just tends to blend in. Anyway, I think you guys enjoyed watching that one. It's definitely a fun one for sure. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed, even though the Hulks didn't necessarily all pay for themselves. In fact, I don't know that any of them really paid for themselves. Just having that cheap, high-mass AP to come in and deal some damage and just help supplement your sort of flimsy-ish melee power, right? Because, I mean, offensively, obviously, the halberds will do good against large armored targets, but their attack animations even then are relatively slow. Still just not that strong of a unit overall in terms of offensive power, but the high weapon strength on these guys makes them a viable damage dealing unit. That cheap price, you can definitely take enough of them for it to be worthwhile. Depth guards also going to be great in this matchup in general. In the future, who knows, Cathay may get some dedicated anti-infantry units, or at least, you know, dedicated DPS anti-infantry. But for the time being, definitely going to be a solid choice there. Noctilus also, obviously, with his OP Pit of Shades. Bomber's also quite strong right now, just generally a nice unit to have for the cost. Even if they don't pay for themselves, the threat of them is enough. My opponent here, Miao Ying, doing a decent job. 2,200 value, 2,700, yeah, 27,000 damage dealt, sorry. The Crane Gunner's also interesting choice. I kind of like the pick here to a degree. I don't know how exactly they trade one-to-one versus deck guns, but I don't know that that's a matchup you're likely to see in Domination anyway. They are relatively expensive, and I almost wonder if you were just to go with more wide stuff, maybe it would work out a little bit better. Cavalry is definitely one thing that I may take more of personally, but even then, like, I don't know, the Peasant Horsemen don't do a ton for you here in Domination, given that a heavy unit I have a tendency to bring. So, I don't know, maybe you take the Regiment of Renowned Longmas who have AP, so you can drop some really nasty armor-piercing rear charges, perhaps, on depth guards. Yeah, I don't really know what else. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. I definitely need to explore this matchup some more myself, and kind of from both sides how it feels. Definitely is an interesting one, though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.